private issues in a public setting.
I agree with it.
I'm not cool with nobody like that to throw my wife's name up there and throw our name in a joking matter, because when it come back...
You won't believe what went down in Puerto Rico. Just when fans thought tensions had finally cooled and Zane had smoothed things over with Renni, the drama hit a whole new level. Sources are claiming that Karlie and Mendeecees unexpectedly crashed a dinner meant to celebrate reconciliation, leaving everyone in shock. Imagine the scene, a quiet, tense dinner. Everyone cautiously picking their words. When suddenly the doors burst open and two of reality TV's most unpredictable personalities make their grand entrance. Emotions reportedly ran high as accusations flew and whispers of old betrayals surfaced. Could this be another one of those explosive moments that LHHATL is famous for? Fans are talking about heated stares, whispered insults, and the kind of tension that has everyone holding their breath. Some insiders are suggesting that the confrontation wasn't just about the past, but may involve secrets that could shake relationships to their core. Witnesses are saying that every eye in the room was glued to the unexpected arrival, and even Zane, known for trying to keep the peace, seemed taken aback. If rumors are true, this is the Puerto Rico showdown no fan saw coming, and it's already setting the internet on fire. The tension in Puerto Rico had been building for days. Whispers of old grudges and unresolved conflicts hanging heavy in the air. Fans watching from home could almost feel the electricity through the screen, as if the island itself was bracing for an explosion. Zane had spent hours trying to smooth things over with Renni, hoping that the heated arguments from previous nights could finally be laid to rest. The atmosphere at the dinner had been cautiously hopeful, with soft music playing in the background. Plates of carefully arranged food creating a veneer of normalcy. Everyone was aware that this dinner was more than just a meal. It was a test, a fragile attempt at reconciliation that could either heal old wounds or blow up spectacularly. The camera captured Zane sitting across from Renni, his hands slightly trembling as he spoke. "I just want to clear the air," he murmured, his voice low but steady. "I know I messed up, and I don't want this to fester any longer. I respect you, Renni, and I want us to move forward." Renni nodded slowly, eyes fixed on her plate, as if she were mentally weighing every word. The room seemed to hold its breath. Murmurs of support and cautious optimism rippled through the small group gathered around the table. Even the staff, who had seen their fair share of reality TV chaos, exchanged uneasy glances, sensing the history and the stakes involved. The island air, humid and fragrant with the scent of tropical flowers, could not mask the tension simmering inside. It was a delicate balance, the kind of scene where one misplaced comment could ignite a firestorm. Zane's attempt at peace was genuine, his tone filled with a sincerity that few expected from a man known for impulsive decisions and emotional outbursts. Yet, as he spoke, there was an unmistakable undercurrent of fear. A knowledge that not everyone at the table would be ready to let go of past grievances. Whispers circulated among the attendees, subtle comments that hinted at alliances, secret resentments, and unspoken rivalries. Karlie and Mendeecees, whose presence had already been a source of speculation, were notably absent at the start of the dinner, their delay only adding to the suspense. Fans online were buzzing, sharing screenshots of previous confrontations, replaying moments where emotions had run high, and debating whether peace was even a realistic outcome. The group dynamic had always been precarious. Friendships forged and broken in the high-pressure world of love and hip-hop, where personal stakes were intertwined with public perception. The dinner, meant to symbolize unity and closure, now felt like a powder keg waiting for a spark. As Zane continued, his voice gaining a steadiness born of necessity rather than comfort, he leaned in slightly, making eye contact with each person at the table. "I know it's hard to trust after everything, and I take full responsibility for my part," he said, his hands gesturing in small, earnest movements. The camera cut to Renni, her expression unreadable, but her eyes betraying the slightest hint of softened anger. She listened, occasionally nodding, her fingers tracing the rim of her glass as if drawing strength from the simple motion. The tension, however, was not limited to Zane and Renni. Across the table, murmurs of disbelief and curiosity circulated among other cast members. Some were genuinely impressed by the attempt at reconciliation, while others quietly bristled. Memories of past slights and arguments still fresh in their minds. The air was thick with unspoken words, the kind of silence that only precedes an eruption. And then, as if on cue, the moment everyone had been dreading and anticipating arrived. The doors of the dining room swung open with a dramatic flair. And Karlie and Mendeecees entered together, their expressions a mixture of determination and mischief. The room seemed to tilt. The fragile equilibrium disrupted instantly. Eyes widened, whispers turned into audible gasps. And the soft background music seemed to falter under the weight of the sudden intrusion. Fans watching at home were quick to react, social media erupting with speculation and excitement, debating what this unexpected appearance could mean for the evening. Some speculated it was merely a social visit, while others hinted at the potential for confrontation. Old wounds being reopened in front of an audience. The camera focused on Karlie, her gaze sweeping the room, landing briefly on Zane and Renni. There was a glint in her eyes, a subtle smile that suggested both amusement and a readiness for drama. Mendeecees followed, his presence commanding attention. A quiet intensity radiating from him that made it clear he was not there to simply sit and observe. The whispers at the table grew louder, conversations halting as all eyes turned to the new arrivals. Zane's hands tightened around his glass, a flicker of apprehension crossing his face. Renni's jaw clenched, a mix of surprise and guarded caution in her posture. It was a delicate dance, the kind that reality TV fans live for. One moment of misstep could ignite an explosion of emotions that no one would forget. Karlie moved with purpose, taking a seat that allowed her to have a direct line of sight to both Zane and Renni. "Did we miss anything?" she asked casually, her tone light but her eyes sharp, scanning for reactions. Mendeecees leaned back slightly, arms crossed, exuding calm control. But his presence alone amplified the tension in the room. "Just trying to enjoy dinner," Zane replied, attempting to maintain composure, though his voice betrayed a hint of nerves. The group's collective focus was now fractured, tension divided between the ongoing dialogue at the table and the unexpected arrivals who had instantly altered the energy of the room. Fans online were quick to notice body language cues, replaying the footage frame by frame, analyzing micro-expressions and predicting which alliances might shift and which old conflicts could resurface. The subtle interplay between smiles, glances, and pauses became fodder for intense speculation, fueling discussions about loyalty, past betrayals, and the potential for confrontation. The initial polite exchanges were peppered with undercurrents of tension, each word chosen carefully, each laugh measured. As the cast navigated the treacherous waters of public diplomacy and private grudges, Zane continued, attempting to steer the conversation back to the intended focus: reconciliation. "I want us all to move forward," he said, his voice steadying with each word. "This trip is about enjoying time together, not letting old issues control the room." Renni, still wary, responded with measured acknowledgement, her eyes flicking momentarily toward Karlie and Mendeecees, aware that their arrival had shifted the dynamics dramatically. The evening unfolded with careful navigation, dialogue interspersed with subtle digs and pointed questions, as everyone assessed the intentions of the others. The presence of Karlie and Mendeecees was like a storm hovering at the edge of the table, calm for now, but with the unmistakable threat of a downpour. Emotions ran high as the cast tried to maintain a semblance of civility, but it was clear that beneath the surface, old alliances, grudges, and secrets were all vying for attention. Fans watching this unfold were in disbelief, some cheering for attempts at peace, others anticipating the inevitable clash. Social media feeds filled with comments speculating on who might spark the first real argument, with predictions flying fast and furious. The tension, while palpable, also carried a strange sense of anticipation, the kind that makes reality TV addictive. Zane, attempting to regain control, shifted focus back to dialogue, asking about plans for the rest of the trip. trying to redirect energy toward unity and celebration. Renni offered tentative suggestions, careful to phrase responses in ways that acknowledged Zane's sincerity while protecting her own boundaries. The camera occasionally cut to Karlie and Mendeecees, capturing subtle reactions that hinted at judgments, secrets, or intentions yet to be revealed. As the night progressed, the interplay between sincere attempts at connection and the lurking potential for drama kept everyone on edge. The dinner, originally intended as a simple gesture of peace, had transformed into a layered stage for negotiation, emotion, and the high-stakes balancing act that fans live for. The room was alive with unspoken thoughts, glances that spoke volumes, and the quiet calculations of who would act first, who would react, and who would maintain the fragile balance. Every movement, every sip of wine, and every pause in conversation was charged with meaning. A subtle power play wrapped in the guise of polite dining. And yet beneath the surface of careful words and measured gestures, the simmering potential for eruption remained. The scene captured perfectly the essence of why love and hip-hop continues to captivate audiences. Raw emotion, unexpected twists, and the tension between personal loyalty and public perception. With Karlie and Mendeecees present, the dinner was no longer just a reconciliation. It had become a delicate battlefield where every smile, every comment, and every glance could tip the scales. Fans were left on the edge of their seats, eyes glued to screens as the drama unfolded layer by layer, moment by moment, sip by sip, revealing the complex dance of forgiveness, pride, and anticipation that only reality TV could deliver. The dinner had barely settled into what could be called a rhythm when subtle shifts in body language started signaling that not everyone was ready to let the past go. Zane, trying to maintain his calm, noticed Renni's eyes darting occasionally toward Karlie. His posture radiated confidence and a hint of challenge. Mendeecees, on the other hand, seemed almost unnervingly composed, sitting back in his chair, arms crossed. Yet his eyes betrayed a watchfulness that suggested he was analyzing every word, every movement in the room. The conversation picked up seemingly mundane at first, touching on plans for the rest of the trip, the food and the view, but beneath each sentence lay tension. A game of verbal chess where any misstep could trigger an explosion. So Puerto Rico has been interesting, Zane said, forcing a lightness into his tone, trying to keep the peace alive. Renni responded with a small nod, her voice measured. It's definitely been something, she replied, the ellipses hanging heavy, as if she were choosing her words carefully to avoid opening old wounds. Karlie smirked slightly, her gaze flicking from Renni to Zane. Oh, it's been more than something, she said softly, loud enough for only the table to catch. A statement loaded with implication. Whispers started circulating in the room, small murmurs, exchanged glances between cast members, and subtle smirks, as everyone sensed that the calm facade could shatter at any moment. Mendeecees finally spoke, his deep voice cutting through the undercurrent of tension. Look, we're all here for the same reason, right? To enjoy the trip, spend time together, and maybe, just maybe, clear the air. His words carried authority, but the unspoken message was clear. He was aware of past grievances and would not tolerate any disrespect toward those he cared about. Zane nodded, grateful for the reinforcement, but the nerves were palpable. I just want to be honest, Zane continued, leaning slightly forward, hands clasped on the table. I know I've made mistakes, said things I shouldn't have, and if anyone felt hurt, that was never my intention. Renni's gaze softened just slightly, though there was still caution there. I hear you, she said, but it's not just about words. It's about actions, consistency, and knowing that this isn't going to happen again. Karlie let out a soft laugh, almost amused, and Mendeecees gave a small nod. The room held a strange mix of relief and apprehension, just when it seemed that the conversation might continue without incident. A subtle but pointed comment from Karlie shifted the energy. Sometimes words are easy, she said, her tone casual but cutting. It's the things you don't say, the secrets, the late nights, the moments we only hear about later. that really tests trust. The words hit like a spark, and the atmosphere tightened instantly. Fans at home were quick to react, some messaging frantically on social media, debating what Karlie could be hinting at. Whether she knew something the rest of the table didn't, or if she was just stirring the pot. Zane's hands tightened slightly, a flicker of discomfort crossing his features, while Renni's expression became guarded, eyes narrowing ever so slightly. "What do you mean by that?" Renni asked, her voice calm but sharp, the kind of tone that demanded honesty. Karlie leaned back slightly, smiling faintly, just saying, "Sometimes people think the past is buried, but it always has a way of surfacing, especially when everyone's gathered in one room." Mendeecees exhaled slowly, his eyes scanning the table, sensing the undercurrent of provocation. The conversation took on a new layer, a tension beneath the surface that no one could ignore. Zane, realizing the delicate position he was in, attempted to steer back to common ground. "I understand, Karlie. I get it. But this dinner isn't about digging up old pain. It's about acknowledging it and moving forward." Renni shifted slightly, leaning in. Moving forward is fine, but it has to be genuine, not just convenient. The camera caught subtle reactions from the other cast members. Some whispered to each other, exchanging brief glances that spoke volumes about unspoken alliances, while others sat in silence, absorbing the charged atmosphere. The background music, soft and melodic, contrasted sharply with the undercurrent of tension, highlighting every small gesture, every flick of an eye, every half smile that might conceal more than it revealed. The next few minutes were a careful dance. Zane tried to maintain sincerity, his voice low and earnest. "I don't want to be part of the problem anymore. I want us all to be able to enjoy this trip without past mistakes defining our every interaction." Renni's response was deliberate, measured. "We'll see. Actions speak louder than words, Zane. Let's see if what you say matches what you do." The subtle challenge was not lost on anyone. Karlie's smirk widened slightly, and Mendeecees' eyes glinted with quiet amusement, aware that the night's real drama might only be beginning. A few moments of tentative peace were interrupted when an unexpected remark came from across the table, a whispered comment about past encounters, suggesting that not all secrets were yet revealed. The tension ratcheted higher. Subtle shifts in posture and eye contact turning the seemingly polite dinner into a battlefield of wit, strategy, and emotional stakes. Fans following live feeds were already reacting, dissecting every line, every glance, predicting who might be the first to lose composure, who might push too far, and who would try to mediate before disaster struck. Zane, sensing the precarious balance, tried to lighten the mood. "Let's just enjoy the food, the view, and each other's company." But the attempt was only partially successful. Karlie, leaning slightly forward, her voice teasing but edged with meaning. "Sometimes company comes with a little surprise, doesn't it?" The implication hung heavy. Mendeecees' subtle chuckle underlined the tension, while Renni's eyes flicked knowingly toward Zane, signaling that she was fully aware of the dynamics at play. Small comments and half-jokes started circulating among the group, each one a test, a probe designed to elicit reactions, gauge loyalty, and measure emotional responses. The dinner, intended as a step toward healing, had become an intricate game of reading intentions, understanding motives, and balancing ego with diplomacy. The presence of cameras only amplified every nuance, every subtle glance, every carefully phrased sentence. As the evening progressed, Zane attempted to address lingering rumors. "I know people talk, things get exaggerated, and sometimes what's said isn't accurate. But I want to be upfront with everyone here." Renni, listening intently, responded cautiously. "We'll take it one step at a time. Honesty is important, but it's also about timing and trust." Karlie's eyes gleamed, her voice soft but clear. "Honesty is good, but transparency, that's where the real drama comes from." The words sent small ripples across the table. Subtle reactions from cast members revealing curiosity, skepticism, and anticipation. Mendeecees finally leaned in, his presence commanding the room's attention. We're all adults here. Let's keep the respect, but let's not ignore the fact that past mistakes have shaped where we are. The dialogue carried weight, layering the dinner with emotional complexity, teasing fans with the sense that any moment could spiral into chaos. The evening continued with careful navigation. Zane trying to maintain a sense of sincerity, Renni evaluating every gesture, and Karlie and Mendeecees subtly testing boundaries. The dynamics of past relationships, old grievances, and unspoken alliances all played a part in the atmosphere, creating a tapestry of tension, suspense, and anticipation. Fans at home were glued to the screens, discussing possible confrontations, speculating on hidden truths, and debating whether the night would end in peace or erupt into the kind of drama Love and Hip Hop is famous for. Small gestures, a raised eyebrow, a half smile. A subtle shift in seating were dissected online, each movement loaded with implication. The dinner had transformed into a stage where loyalty, pride, emotion, and strategy intertwined, captivating viewers and leaving them desperate for more. The conversations danced along the edge of conflict, the camera catching moments of hesitation, glances of appraisal, and the delicate push and pull between truth and provocation. As Zane tried to summarize the sentiment of the room, I want everyone here to feel comfortable, to enjoy the moment, and to know that we're all trying, in our own ways, to do better. He paused, glancing at Renni, then Karlie, and finally Mendeecees. The subtle nods of acknowledgement, half smiles, and careful gestures revealed that while the dinner had its challenges, a tentative step toward understanding had been made. Yet the undercurrent of suspense remained. It's the kind that reality TV thrives on. Just when viewers believe calm has returned, a single spark could reignite the storm. Every minute of dialogue, every nuanced expression, every measured pause had the potential to send the room spiraling, creating moments that fans would replay, analyze, and debate endlessly. The atmosphere was electric, charged with emotion, uncertainty, and the tantalizing promise of confrontation or revelation. In the world of love and hip-hop, nothing is ever truly resolved. And every dinner, every conversation, every glance carries the weight of history, rumor, and the possibility of explosive drama. Zane, Renni, Karlie, and Mendeecees had navigated this particular moment with skill. But fans knew that the island's heat and the intensity of past events meant the night was far from over. As the cameras panned across the room, capturing subtle interactions, murmured exchanges, and fleeting expressions, it was clear that the stage was set for more revelations, more surprises, and the kind of emotional roller coaster that had made love and hip-hop a cultural phenomenon. The dinner, which had started as a tentative attempt at reconciliation, now teetered on the edge of a full-blown spectacle. Every movement at the table carried weight. Every glance and half-smile seemed to hint at secrets and past grievances. Zane, despite his efforts to maintain calm, felt the pressure of the room. The presence of Karlie and Mendeecees, combined with Renni's cautious demeanor, created a tension that was almost palpable, like a storm waiting to break. Fans at home were already speculating, some posting rapid-fire reactions on social media, others replaying the footage, analyzing micro-expressions and subtle body language for clues about potential confrontations. The conversation had shifted subtly, moving from light talk about the trip to more pointed discussions about past events, choices, and misunderstandings. Zane tried to navigate carefully, his voice calm but firm. "I know that things have been messy," he admitted, "but we're all here. We've all seen each other at our best and worst, and this is a chance to acknowledge that and move forward." Renni's eyes flicked toward him, a mixture of skepticism and hope evident. "Moving forward isn't about saying the right words," she said quietly. "It's about proving it through actions. We'll see if you really mean it." Karlie, sitting across the table, tilted her head slightly, her voice soft but cutting. "Sometimes actions are easier to see than words. But that doesn't mean people don't hide things. Late nights, whispered calls, rumors, those are harder to prove but just as powerful." The words hung heavy, creating a ripple of unease across the table. Mendeecees exhaled slowly, his deep voice cutting through the tension. We've all got history, all of us. But we can't let the past control the present. We need to know when to speak up and when to let things be. Fans online were already debating the subtext, questioning who had been hiding what and how this dinner might uncover long-buried secrets. Zane, feeling the weight of scrutiny, tried to lighten the mood slightly. Look, I know it's not easy, and there are probably things I don't even know about. But I want to be honest, upfront, and transparent with everyone here. Renni responded carefully. Honesty is good, but it's not just about admitting mistakes. It's about proving you've learned from them and that the trust can be rebuilt. Karlie's smirk deepened slightly, the kind that suggested amusement mixed with anticipation. Trust is tricky, she said softly, especially when you think everything is settled. And then a little rumor or late-night story comes out and suddenly nothing is settled anymore. The camera caught subtle reactions from other cast members, whispered side conversations, raised eyebrows, and small smiles all hinted at underlying drama, alliances, and the delicate balance of loyalty and skepticism. Mendeecees, sensing the charged atmosphere, leaned forward slightly. We're adults, but emotions are real, he said, eyes scanning the table. Sometimes things come up and we have to deal with them. It's not always pretty, but it's necessary. The words resonated, but the undercurrent of tension remained. Zane shifted in his seat, his hands clasped together. I understand, and I'm ready to face whatever comes up. If there's something we need to talk about, let's do it now openly. Renni's expression softened, but the wariness remained. We will, but it has to be respectful, measured. No shouting, no games, just honesty. Karlie, clearly enjoying the dynamics, tilted her head, her voice almost teasing. Honesty is nice, but sometimes the drama is more fun. Reality TV thrives on it, right? A ripple of nervous laughter spread across the table, but the tension was far from dissipated. Subtle glances between Zane and Renni conveyed a mix of relief and apprehension. Both knew that peace, if it existed at all, was fragile and easily disrupted. The conversation continued, shifting to personal experiences and past misunderstandings. Zane shared moments of regret and introspection, hoping to demonstrate growth and sincerity. Renni listened, occasionally nodding, occasionally glancing at Karlie and Mendeecees. Aware that the presence of the two added an unpredictable element to every exchange, fans watching online dissected every second, debating whether Zane's intentions were genuine or whether the dinner was a carefully staged moment of performance. Subtle gestures, a slight pause, a hand movement, or the way eyes met and avoided each other became fodder for speculation, generating buzz and keeping engagement high. Karlie, sensing an opportunity, leaned forward, her voice low but clear. We all say we want peace, but sometimes peace isn't what people really want. They want validation, acknowledgement, maybe even a little chaos to make themselves feel alive. Mendeecees chuckled softly, the kind of sound that suggested he both agreed and was amused by the timing of the statement. Zane's jaw tightened slightly, realizing that the room's energy was shifting again, from tentative calm to playful yet dangerous provocation. Renni's eyes narrowed ever so slightly. Chaos isn't necessary, she said firmly, but honesty is. Don't confuse the two. The room's dynamics were now fully layered: sincerity and provocation, trust and suspicion, past grievances and potential reconciliation, all entwined in a complex web. Fans at home were glued to the screens, analyzing every frame, predicting how the night might evolve, and speculating on potential confrontations that could arise from long-held secrets. Subtle tension points emerged when small references to past late-night encounters and rumored conflicts surfaced. Karlie dropped hints about events no one had discussed openly, phrases carefully chosen to provoke thought without outright accusation. Sometimes what people don't say is louder than what they do say. She remarked casually, eyes flicking toward Zane, then Renni, then Mendeecees. The comment hung in the air like smoke, lingering and filling the room with anticipation. Mendeecees, sensing the delicate balance, interjected, "We're all adults here. And if there are things to clear up, now's the time. But let's keep it respectful. No one benefits from unnecessary conflict." Zane nodded, appreciating the effort to maintain composure, yet the subtle reminders of past drama kept him on edge. Renni's voice, soft yet firm, reminded everyone, words are easy. Actions aren't. If we're going to move forward, it has to be real, not just convenient statements to look good. The interplay of dialogue, subtle provocations, and emotional stakes created a dinner that was both tense and captivating. A perfect storm for reality TV fans to dissect. Fans online debated every line, every glance, every gesture, predicting which character might crack first and what revelations could come next. The tension was further heightened when Karlie leaned in slightly, voice almost playful. Sometimes you think you've handled the past, and then something surfaces that reminds you that peace is never guaranteed. Zane's shoulders tensed. Renni's fingers tapped lightly on the table, and Mendeecees' eyes glimmered with anticipation. The conversation continued, weaving between genuine attempts at reconciliation and the lurking potential for drama. Minor comments, slight smiles, and small movements became loaded with meaning. As everyone at the table navigated the delicate line between honesty, provocation, and emotional self-preservation, the dinner, meant to be a moment of peace, had evolved into a nuanced theater of tension, trust, and the ever-present potential for spectacle. Fans were drawn in by the unpredictability, the subtle provocations, and the raw emotion on display. Every word, every gesture was dissected, rewatched, and shared across platforms, creating a feedback loop of speculation, excitement, and anticipation. Zane, attempting to steer the evening toward closure, summarized his feelings quietly. "I want us all to have a good night, to enjoy each other's company and to acknowledge the past but not be controlled by it." Karlie's soft reply carried a hint of optimism. "We'll see if that's possible. I want to believe it, but trust has to be rebuilt, piece by piece." The camera panned across Karlie and Mendeecees, capturing the nuanced reactions, amusement, calculation, subtle challenge, and quiet acknowledgement of the delicate power balance. As the night continued, small conversations branched off. Brief exchanges filled with tension, curiosity, and guarded honesty. Fans were captivated, aware that these seemingly casual interactions were charged with emotional stakes, potential revelations, and dramatic possibilities. Each sip of wine, each laugh, each pause in dialogue carried weight, as if the entire scene were a stage for a performance that balanced reality, rumor, and the unpredictability of human emotion. The interplay between genuine reconciliation and the lurking potential for conflict created a dynamic that had fans on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting the next twist, the next glance, the next moment of drama that could redefine alliances and friendships. As the night progressed, the dinner room felt like a pressure cooker, the air thick with unspoken words, memories, and half-revealed secrets. Zane, though trying to maintain composure, sensed that every comment he made was being dissected, weighed for hidden meaning, and judged by Renni, Karlie, and Mendeecees alike. The cameras captured each subtle gesture, the flicker of hesitation in Zane's eyes, the slight tightening of Renni's jaw, and the faint smirk curling at Karlie's lips. Mendeecees remained calm outwardly, but his presence alone commanded attention. A silent reminder that past grievances and protective instincts were never far from the surface. "I just want tonight to be about clarity," Zane said, his voice low and measured. "We've had misunderstandings, rumors, late nights, things that shouldn't define who we are, but sometimes they do." Renni's eyes softened for a moment, but her tone remained firm. "Clarity is good, but it's not just about saying it once. Consistency matters. Words are one thing, actions another. We'll see if tonight reflects both." Karlie, leaning slightly forward, added, her voice almost teasing, Sometimes what's left unsaid is louder than what's spoken. Late night stories, whispers, moments that never made it to the table. Those test more than honesty. They test trust. Its comment hung in the air like a spark, and a subtle tension rippled across the room. Fans at home were quick to react, speculating about the implications, wondering if Karlie knew more than she was letting on, or if her words were designed to push buttons for drama. Zane, sensing the delicate balance, tried to redirect the conversation. We're all here in the same place, trying to enjoy a meal together, celebrate our time on this trip. The last thing I want is for tension to overshadow the night. Mendeecees nodded, his deep voice adding authority. We've all got history. We've all made mistakes. Tonight isn't about blaming, it's about acknowledging, respecting, and moving forward. Renni, though slightly more relaxed, reminded everyone, moving forward takes trust. It doesn't come from nice words alone. It comes from showing that you mean what you say and doing right when it matters most. Karlie's eyes glimmered with subtle amusement. Trust is tricky when people think the past is buried. Late-night calls, rumors, those things resurface when you least expect them. That's when real drama hits. The room, despite attempts at calm, carried an undercurrent of anticipation. Small comments, exchanged glances, and subtle shifts in seating positions suggested that the night was far from over. Fans online were dissecting every frame, speculating which character might push too far, which secret might emerge, and what emotional explosions could occur next. Zane, taking a deep breath, tried to maintain focus. I know people talk, things get exaggerated. I don't want that. I want honesty, transparency, and a chance to clear the air. Renni's measured response reminded him, we'll see. Clarity isn't just about speaking, it's about actions, and timing matters. Karlie, always aware of the dramatic potential, leaned in slightly. Sometimes actions are easier to see, but whispers, rumors, and late-night moments have their own power. They reveal what people might not want to admit. The subtle power play continued, each line layered with double meanings, each glance hinting at hidden knowledge or strategic silence. Mendeecees, noticing the tension, attempted to inject some perspective. We can't let the past define us, but ignoring it doesn't work either. We address it, acknowledge it, and respect one another. That's how we move forward. The dinner had evolved into a nuanced dance of diplomacy, provocation, and emotional navigation. Fans at home were captivated, eager to see which moment might trigger a crack in composure, or which secret might surface unexpectedly. Small gestures, a raised eyebrow, a faint smirk. A subtle hand movement became signals, interpreted by viewers as clues to hidden dynamics. The tension escalated further when Karlie made a pointed remark about the nature of past alliances and unspoken rivalries. Sometimes people think the past is gone, but it lingers, she said softly. Eyes moving across the table, making sure her words reached Zane, Renni, and Mendeecees. Late nights, rumors, moments never addressed. They all resurface when you least expect them. Zane swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the statement. Renni's fingers tapped lightly on the table, a subtle sign of impatience mixed with curiosity. Mendeecees exhaled slowly, aware that the statement had shifted the room's dynamics. The cameras caught the reactions, small shifts in posture, subtle glances, and the faintest signs of tension. Fans were analyzing every micro-expression, debating who might react next, and which revelation could spark the evening's next dramatic moment. The dialogue continued, weaving between tentative reconciliation and underlying tension. Zane spoke of his regrets, hopes for moving forward, and his desire to be honest. Renni responded cautiously, signaling her willingness to consider his sincerity, but emphasizing that trust must be rebuilt. Karlie and Mendeecees interjected occasionally, adding subtle provocations, teasing remarks, and moments of insight that kept everyone on edge. The dinner, which had begun as a potential peacemaking event, had turned into a delicate balance of emotion, diplomacy, and reality TV intrigue. Every comment, every glance, every measured pause was a test of character, loyalty, and emotional resilience. Fans were riveted, aware that even the smallest slip could trigger an unforgettable confrontation. Zane, sensing the delicate atmosphere, tried to steer toward closure. "I want tonight to be about enjoying each other's company, acknowledging the past, but not letting it control us." Renni's measured nod indicated cautious optimism. "We'll see if that's possible. Trust is fragile and actions matter more than words." Karlie's soft smile suggested she was both amused and intrigued by the subtle dynamics, while Mendeecees maintained a composed yet commanding presence, ensuring that respect remained a priority. Small side conversations broke out, brief exchanges loaded with tension, curiosity, and the potential for revelation. Fans online were quick to speculate, dissecting every frame, replaying subtle gestures, and debating the emotional stakes. The combination of honesty, provocation, and emotional nuance created a dinner scene that was both tense and captivating. It's perfect for the type of drama that love and hip-hop thrives on. Each word, gesture, and glance carried significance, teasing fans with the potential for explosive moments while leaving enough ambiguity to maintain suspense. The night stretched on, a complex interplay of reconciliation, subtle provocation, and calculated diplomacy. Zane, Renni, Karlie, and Mendeecees navigated the dinner with a combination of sincerity, strategy, and awareness of the cameras capturing every moment. The atmosphere was electric, charged with emotional stakes, suspense, and the potential for drama that could ripple through the rest of the season. As the dinner began to wind down, subtle hints suggested that while some peace had been tentatively achieved, the undercurrent of unresolved tension, rumors, and the history of past conflicts meant that the night's drama was far from over. Fans at home were captivated, analyzing every detail, speculating about hidden secrets, and debating how the events of this dinner might affect relationships, alliances, and the season's narrative. The interplay between reconciliation and provocation, between trust and suspicion, created a dynamic that was both enthralling and unpredictable. The cameras continued to capture every expression, every pause, and every subtle interaction, giving fans endless material to discuss and dissect. Even small gestures, a hand on a glass, a soft laugh, a tilt of the head were loaded with meaning, interpreted as signals of emotion, strategy, or hidden knowledge. Zane, Renni, Karlie, and Mendeecees had navigated the dinner with skill, but the unpredictability of human emotion and the charged atmosphere of reality TV meant that anything could happen next. The tension between past grievances, unspoken secrets, and the desire for peace created a narrative rich with suspense, intrigue, and the potential for dramatic revelations. Fans were left on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting the next episode, the next dinner, or the next moment when truth, rumor, and emotion might collide in explosive fashion. The dinner had become a microcosm of reality TV's signature mix: emotional authenticity, provocation, suspense, and the ever-present possibility of chaos. The night's interactions, subtle and overt, were a testament to the complexity of relationships, the power of perception, and the thrill of watching personalities collide in real time. In the end, while tentative steps toward reconciliation had been taken, the lingering tension, history, and high stakes ensured that the drama was far from over. Fans were captivated, speculating, reacting, and eagerly anticipating the next turn in this tangled web of trust, betrayal, and emotional intensity. Every frame, every line of dialogue, and every glance was a piece of the puzzle, leaving viewers desperate for more, discussing endlessly, and waiting for the next explosive moment that reality TV promises. The tension, the whispers, the subtle glances, and the explosive moments at dinner have left fans everywhere talking. From Zane's heartfelt attempts at reconciliation to Renni's cautious skepticism, and Karlie and Mendeecees stirring the pot just enough to keep things unpredictable. The night was a roller coaster of emotions. Rumors of late-night encounters and unspoken grievances hung in the air, making every word, every gesture, and every pause feel loaded with meaning. The family, friends, and cast members all navigated this delicate dance of trust, honesty, and provocation, leaving viewers glued to their screens, debating who was sincere, who was playing, and who might spark the next dramatic moment, with alliances, old wounds, and subtle provocations intertwined. One thing is clear: this dinner was more than a meal. It was a battleground of emotions, power, and perception. Fans are left questioning what will happen next, which secrets might surface, and how relationships will evolve after such a charged night. Did Zane truly earn Renni's trust, or are the rumors and subtle tensions only the beginning of a new wave of drama? Will Karlie and Mendeecees continue to play their roles as instigators, or will unexpected alliances shift the dynamics yet again? The unanswered questions are exactly what keeps audiences coming back for more. Watching every episode with anticipation and discussing every nuance online, now it's your turn to join the conversation. What do you think really happened behind the scenes during this intense dinner? Do you believe Zane's apology was genuine, or was it a calculated move to manage the fallout? How do you see Renni reacting in future episodes? And what role will Karlie and Mendeecees play in the next dramatic twists? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know which moment shocked you the most. And don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the breakdown. Subscribe for more updates, gossip, and deep dives into the latest love and hip-hop drama. And hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the chaos, reconciliation, and suspense that keeps fans talking. Your opinions matter, and this story is far from over. Join us as we continue to follow every shocking turn, every heated confrontation, and every emotional revelation in this unforgettable season.